think the lady in red, I think I would like to ask her to start first because she has been leading from the front as ambassador of Pakistan to the People's Republic of China. But the way I've known her from a student days when she was a certified leftist, and I think she still am. Oh, good. Thank you very much.
Well, it's ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, Senator. Uh, it is. We've had a very good session this morning, and I think a lot of geostrategy and geopolitics has already been, spoken about, and everything that needed to be said about the disorder and what will emerge from this disorder and where Pakistan stands and where things will move has already been said. So it's very interesting to see that this session will now talk about geoeconomics. And it is, in my view, I could be totally wrong, geoeconomics and geopolitics are not mutually exclusive. In fact, I don't think it would be wrong to say that after securing the territorial integrity and sovereignty of any country, the most important aspect for sustaining anything else is the economic strength of a country, and which in turn then drives the geopolitics and the strategic considerations of any country, particularly of a country like Pakistan that is situated in a very difficult and yet a very, very important sub-region of South Asia. And together with Afghanistan, I think we form the two basic links, which, if closed, can be very negative for the geo-economic development or the socio-economic development of not only our two countries but of the region and of the rest of the world. But if these locks are open, they have a very positive and important impact on the socio-economic development, politics, and strategy of the region. Having said that, because when we talk of geoeconomics, we can't really not talk of China, that has mastered the art of using geoeconomics as the most effective tool of foreign policy. And we have seen how quietly, while the rest of the world was busy creating the disorder that we see in the world today, China has very subtly, very quietly gone about its socio-economic development, which makes it now a central player in the geopolitics and the strategic domain of the world. Now, before I say anything further, I would like to read out an ancient Chinese saying, if you allow me, of a great Chinese philosopher who said, "All living things may grow side by side without harming one another, and different roads may run in parallel without interfering with one another. Only when all countries pursue the cause of the common good, live in harmony, and engage in cooperation for mutual benefit, will there be sustained prosperity and guaranteed security." Now, this was said maybe 3,000 years ago, but if you look at the central point of Chinese approach to the disorder in the world and what Pakistan's approach to this disorder in the world is, this actually sums it up very, very nicely. That the world may be a small place, but it is still big enough for everyone to reach their socio-economic development and still coexist. Or you can say in the political jargon that the world is big enough for a multipolar world to not only exist but also thrive. And now, when you look at Pakistan for, from the last 1 year, very soon we'll be celebrating the 1 year, anniversary of the conflict with India. We see that that conflict has not only changed the geoeconomic, geostrategic, and geopolitical importance of Pakistan, it has also impacted the region and countries beyond the region in many ways. And while I will not talk about the geopolitical side of it, as far as Pakistan is concerned, I think it has provided a very strong opportunity to Pakistan to focus on geoeconomics and to put it at the front and center of its strategy while dealing with the region and with the rest of the world. Because this conflict has actually busted many myths about India and has completely changed the perception and the narrative about Pakistan. You know, behind these very negative headlines that we saw about Pakistan in the last 4 decades, people had forgotten to see that there was a very strong and very consistent strand of very strong diplomacy, very strong elements in Pakistan, which, when given the opportunity, will come out and shine. And I think this
2 minutes
conflict
left.
gave us that opportunity. And now, especially with the conflict in between America and Iran, we have seen how we can actually leverage our position from a geo-economic point of view and actually make Pakistan the center of the economic hub and industrial activity that we were hoping that we could make. And I think it is also a very good opportunity for Pakistan to re-energize these special economic zones and these industrial zones, which will eventually lead to the full potential, realizing the full potential of Gawada port and the infrastructure that we have built. So this is now actually the time to make the infrastructure and the energy projects that we have done with China to make CPAC work for the people and work for the socio-economic development. And if the conflict settles, hopefully sooner rather than later, and if sanctions are lifted from Iran, then I think that would be an excellent opportunity to complete our pipelines, not only with China, but with the other two pipelines towards the west. And already, despite this raging conflict, Pakistan has found another corridor linking Central Asia through. And I just read yesterday that one consignment of frozen meat is already going through Iran to Central Asia. So, despite this conflict, we are finding ways to benefit from this, to put our economy in front. And I think if we continue to play our cards well, I think Pakistan has risen as a middle state. The world has realized that Pakistan is in terms of its military strength and political stability, the strongest Muslim country in the world with nuclear power. And now we have also demonstrated our political sagacity and our absolutely astute diplomatic skills.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
the
you so
time
much.
is right for us to cash on this and focus on the socio-economic development and our economic relations, not only with China, but with the rest of the world as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you're right, the challenges in the region have created this historic opportunity for Pakistan to play its role as a middle power with an outreach. And by the way, the Pakistan-Iran border is open. And there are goods being sent. We are sending a lot of humanitarian supplies to Iran and also the transshipment to Central Asia. Thank you so much, Ambassador Hashmi.